In today's video, how to lose 10% of your body fat. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today's topic, we're going to discuss how to lose 10% of your body fat, the exact cardio, nutrition, training, and approach you should take and how long it should take you to get there. And today's question comes from right here on my Instagram direct message. So send me a direct message if you have a question. And if you like this type of information around nutrition, around training, around an evidence-based approach to having the physique of your dreams, hit subscribe. That's what I love to do here. So for today's video, I'd like to read the question and then we'll get into it. Hey Paul, I'm currently at 25% body fat. Was wondering what I have to do in order to get down to 15% body fat and how long it would take. Let me know, thanks. So it's not a lot of information to go by here, right? So I'm just gonna make some big guesses and say that you're 200 pounds. And at 25% body fat, 200 pounds, that tells us that, well, to get down another 10% body fat, we're gonna have to lose 20 pounds. So 20 pounds of body fat is a pretty significant amount. And the first thing I wanna say is, do not do it the wrong way. Because if you do it the wrong way, research, evidence actually shows us that you will end up fatter. That's right, fatter than when you started. So what is the wrong way? The first and worst thing you can do is enter any type of crash diet, any type of diet that is not gonna be sustainable for you. Because this sets our body up for a very harsh rebound. While we are driven with a goal in mind, such as, let's say your goal to be 180 pounds, we can survive on very low calories, lots of cardio, lots of restriction. Maybe you're doing some fasting and that works great and you get that weight off and then you hit your goal of 180 pounds and then what do? You have no skills. You have no way of maintaining that because God knows you cannot maintain it on the crash diet approach that you use to get there. Instead, what we need to do is take a sustainable approach to weight loss. Now, it's often not as sexy because you're not gonna lose 10 pounds in a week. I say if you lose 10 pounds in a week and you're 25% body fat, then you are in big trouble when it comes to this thing ending. Doesn't mean it can't work. So an approach I like to take with my athletes, because our goal as we diet down for physique competition is to keep as much muscle as possible. So if you're not already entered into some type of resistance training protocol, it would be a great time to do that. Why? Well, because then you won't need to lose 20 pounds. Then you might only need to lose 10, maybe 15 pounds because you're gonna recomp by putting on a little bit of lean body mass, a little bit of muscle. So what I'm gonna do is put a link below to a free training guide for beginners, which just gives you basically an outline on how to work out, how to eat, how to do some cardio, all those things just to get you started and get your foot in the door. And if you're stuck at home, don't worry, I still got you because you can download the free beginner's guide and you can actually download our free at-home, no equipment workouts. That'll just get you started. But the real important thing here is that we figure out how to be consistent with diet, how to be consistent with activity, so that we're doing what to lose weight? That's right, creating a caloric deficit. Caloric deficit is basically our body's way of knowing that we are, in fact, burning more fat than we are storing in a given day. Now, you can use many different approaches to find your caloric deficit, but my favorite way is always going to be to just track your diet for a week using an app like a Fat Secret. This type of diet recall gives us real world information. However, if you'd just like to get started now, I actually have a link on ProPhysique.com for a free calorie calculator that can give you an idea based on your parameters such as your height, your age, your weight, your activity levels, and your expected body fat percentage. You said you know what it is. You can plug it in there and it's going to give you a calorie range for building muscle, losing body fat, and these types of things. And you could basically plug it in, get your calories for the week, set up your diet to follow that, and after a week, you should be losing weight. But how much weight should you be losing? Well, assuming that everything else stays the same, with resistance training, I like to see basically 1% of your body weight come off per week. So that for you would be about 2 pounds initially. Now, as we get leaner, it's gonna be a little bit slower. And as we're heavier, it's gonna go a little bit faster. So how long does it take to lose 10% of your body fat? Well, if somebody is 35% body fat, that's gonna happen a lot quicker than if somebody is, say, 18% body fat and they wanna get down to 8%. just because the more body fat you have, the faster you can lose it. The less body fat you have, the more your body is going to begin to slow down and fight you a little bit, especially for men. Once we get close to that 10% range, the body really starts to kick up those survival instincts, and it becomes more and more difficult to lose that body fat. But going from 25% to 15%, especially, I looked at your pictures and you're young, I feel like it should be pretty effortless. Meaning you just need some accountability with your diet, you need some accountability with your daily activity, and you need some accountability with yourself and your lifestyle. You need to just change the way you're doing things, okay? That doesn't mean you can't have fun. I'm a big proponent of flexible dieting, where we kind of fit the foods that we enjoy. I want you to fit some social activities into your daily and weekly routine to make sure we're enjoying this process. But if we're losing, let's say 2 pounds a week, well, it's not too hard to figure out that it would take about 10 weeks to get down those 20 pounds. Now, it might take a little bit longer, so you might want to plan for, say, 14 to 15 weeks to give yourself time for, let's say, a diet break. Maybe you need a week off from the process of dieting down, but allowing yourself more time to get there. Now, the next real big question that everyone asks is, okay, I've done the work, I've gotten the 10% body fat off, how do we maintain it? The most important aspect of maintaining weight loss is that you take the habits that you've kind of created to get the weight off and you keep them. You don't stop with your meal prepping. You don't stop with your daily routine of exercise. You simply start walking your calories back up gradually. You know, you can typically walk your calories up 200 to 300. That'll be about maintenance, and you can walk your cardio down by, let's say, 50%, and that's gonna keep you where you're at. It's also going to give you a little bit more room with food, a little bit more time because you're doing less cardio, but keep you in a good place. And then you can walk your calories up by 50 to 100 per week based on how you feel and how you're responding. If the scale creeps up, you don't add anything. If the scale drops, you could be more aggressive. Maybe you add 150 to 200 calories. You get the idea, but none of it works unless you are accountable. And the only way you can be accountable is if you're writing things down and tracking them. Does this mean you need to write things down and track them for the rest of your life? Hell no. You are going to learn a set of skills that you never had before, because by going into restaurants and making your own food, you're going to start to look at food differently. You're going to start to understand its caloric value. You're going to start to understand things that are really calorically dense that you can easily exchange. You know, one of the easiest things we can do is just stop drinking our calories, okay? That's one way that you can get away from a lot of extra calories in a day. When you have something like, let's say, a high calorie energy drink or a high calorie soda, and you replace it with something equivalent but 0 calories. I know it doesn't taste as good, but hold on, because after a couple weeks, I promise you it will taste just as good. In fact, if I have a sip of something like a regular Coke or a regular Mountain Dew now, I can tell you right away that it just tastes funny to me, and I actually prefer the taste of diet beverages. So that's really how you maintain it, is that you just take those lifestyle changes that you've created and you keep using them. You keep those skills that you've learned through this process. Because if you just go on a crash diet and you put yourself on like a 500 or 800 calorie meal plan and lots of cardio or some kind of fasting, that's something you can't sustain, well then you don't really have a way or a skill to come out of that diet. Especially if you're using a meal plan or a crash diet plan that once the plan is over, you don't know where to go back to. If you use this approach where you're actually being accountable, tracking your macros and being flexible, you're gonna learn the value of food. You're also gonna learn how to add food in, and you're gonna learn how to choose foods when you're out. And you won't have to track all the time. Intuitive eating really comes down to the intuition of the individual. So if your goal is to get lean and stay lean, well, you need to develop a skill set that only comes from the work that you're gonna put in going through this process. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.